this embodiment. Thank you so much. I feel like I've made leaps and bounds when I'm by myself. But like you said, it's stickier in relationship. And that has certainly been my experience, especially in the last 2 weeks. How can I find the divine in someone who has been so selfish and harmful, but also someone I don't want to cut out? Boundaries are moving for sure, but so far, no boundary I've set feels right. Okay. I love the question. I love questions about relationships because I feel like it is so useful for us to be learning ourselves in relationship, right? We're like, I feel great by myself. And then I'm like, oh, now I have to be around other people. And actually, you're challenging. And the answer isn't just to cut you out of my life, right? Sometimes that is the case, but the majority of the time, actually, and I feel like this is something that isn't talked about enough, the majority of the time, the right answer or the possibility to even do so, to cut somebody out of your life, is not actually the like number one thing, right? I feel like that's usually not the first thing to go to. You know, sometimes it is the answer. And yet I think a lot of times we actually love people that are challenging, right? Anyone else love somebody who's challenging? I love challenging people. I don't only love challenging people. I also love people that are not so challenging sometimes, but I love some very challenging people. And to love somebody so much and want to be in relationship with them, but find that it is really tricky to like hold our embodiment with them is really real. So thank you for bringing it to the table. One of the things that is really helpful is to take a break. Even if this is not a person that you want to cut out of your life in a lot, like in any way, we can just take a little distance sometimes, especially when new skills and new ways are coming online for us. So the new skills and new ways that are coming online for us sometimes need some time to really anchor in us first. And so being around people that are wanting to talk about these kinds of things, being around people who vibe in this like way, people that are also growing in this way, and then being by ourselves, this is a really great thing to do for a little while new things are coming online. And it's important that we recognize that that's actually not selfish at all. And it doesn't mean that we are going to be parting ways indefinitely. It's just often a little bit of space to anchor things in and really solidify it in ourselves so that we feel steady, right? So that we feel really embodied, right? That is number one. Then number two is that when you said this thing where you said, no boundary I've set feels right. When we have boundaries when anyone says I've set a boundary, it lets me know that you've put up a boundary like this. Here's a boundary. And the person is like, I don't like that boundary. And you'd be like, okay, how about this boundary? Here's a boundary. And they're like, okay, fine. You're like, this boundary isn't good enough. I need to change it. Here's a boundary. And they're like, meh. And you're like, this boundary isn't great. When we set boundaries like this, like it's outside of us, it is more tricky. And so instead, inviting the boundary to be coming from a place of fully choosing yourself. Like my boundary is my boundary, and it will be right because it is representative of my choice of myself first, my choice to be fully occupied within myself. And when I set a boundary from that place, it isn't really set. It's like this, it will always be moving with me. Like my boundary is like a thing that's like this. It's like always with me. It's not hard. It is clear, but it is not like a wall, right? And so when you can do that, it's coming from a different place that isn't asking them as much to be aware of it as it is asking yourself to be within it, right? Because that is actually how you will move forward in the relationship, that in a way that feels good consistently for you. The other part is, how can I find the divine in someone who has been selfish and harmful? I think that it's really useful to see how selfish and harmful we are as individuals. To me, is like, right, I am selfish and harmful too. I have been. And therefore, can I see the divine in you? Yes, it's still there. And actually turn on the like intention to find that in that person, right? Because if you can find it and speak towards that part of that person, right? They maybe get to be seen in a way that they've never been seen before. And you get to be in relationship with the part of them that you want to be in relationship with. And then also to say, I'm not acknowledging the harm that you've caused, right? And therefore there is a boundary here, but I can still see the light in you. And this is, this is really like upper level work to be like, I'm going to find the divine in all beings. It's like, yes. And is it hard sometimes? 100% it's hard sometimes. But taking breaks, forgiving yourself when you get lost in it, and coming back to the table again. Yes, I can find the divine in you. I can find the divine in you. And I can also, if I want to, have space. I can also not have you in my life. All those things are true.